Hello, mini makers. Today, we're going to be making a vending machine. Um, but it dispenses things that can help you on your journey. Um, I got the idea when I saw a picture of a vending machine in Japan that was like all alone in the winter in a very secluded, remote place, but it was still on. And that kind of gave the idea is like, what if it were like that, but something that can help you, ward evil or something. And then I also heard the expression spiritual vending machine as a bad thing, but like, that just gave me an idea for making a vending machine that gave you charms and whatnot. So I'm just gonna go with a rough shape for a vending machine here. Maybe I should have looked up the dimensions of a vending machine, which I'll just do that right now. So I'm looking at it looks like it's 83 inches by in depth. Okay, let me just look up an American vending machine. 33 inches is 1 foot is 12 feet, so that's 1, 2, 3 feet. Okay, so we're just gonna mess with it. Call this 20, 25. Okay, so this is our very basic block vending machine. And now we're just gonna kind of model the general shape of what a vending machine looks like. So I'm using this as an installation. So basically it's gonna kind of look like this middle portion here is going to be the vending machine part, and then it's gonna have kind of 2 rows here, and then it's gonna have like various little items. So I'm thinking like the paper seals here, the paper seals here, a couple of paper seals, then we're gonna have maybe a cherry blossom, like a special cherry blossom, which is I think 5. And then we're gonna have I want to say like one of those wind bells. So kind of like that, and then it's gonna have the little sling going down to a charm. Then one of those bells like that. And then we're probably gonna have one of those little statues from Spirited Away, the ones that kind of look like this. I don't know if you've ever seen Spirited Away, but it's gonna have like little face here. And it's gonna have its little arms here, and like this. So that's what's gonna be there. Then over here in the bottom, it's gonna have its vending machine slot where it kicks out the things that will help you. And then instead of like the little things that the coin feeders, so to speak, we have a offering box here that's kind of diagonal, and then it's gonna be kind of embedded in there, and it's gonna have, and then you're gonna be able to throw your coins in here. Okay, and then we're going to give it kind of the a more traditional style of roof, kind of like that. And then it's gonna have this going on, and then it's gonna have the tiles across them. That's pretty much how it's gonna look. We'll get there when we get there, I guess. So now to erase all of this, and now start working on just getting the rough shapes for the virtual vending machine. This may be a 2-day, depending on how much I get done today. That's a lot of little small pieces. So using this vending machine, the vending machines all kind of seem pretty square. So I'm just going to enmesh in a box cutter, kind of just cut a square out here. Kind of like that. I'm gonna kind of push it in a little bit here. That may be too much, so we're just gonna move the cutter around, maybe to there. We're gonna mirror everything. There we go. Probably gonna mirror it the other way. There we go. Perfect. So now we're gonna actually go into the cutter and we're gonna do these bevels at the top and the bottom here. So we're just gonna grab these two edges on the cutter, and then we're gonna bevel them. Kind of like that. And then we're gonna bevel the bottom ones just slightly less so. Something like that. So we're gonna hide this for a second. So that's good, looks good as our big section here. Oh, is that Peppa Pig? It is. Oh, that's neat. Yeah, they got Peppa Pig over here. That's fun. Okay. So now that we get that, it may be a little bit too deep. I kind of want this to be more shallow. Maybe move it down a little bit. Okay. And then we're going to do the piece that sends them out. So to do that, we'll do the same general thing. Get a cutter here near the bottom. Okay, that may be too low. And then we're going to move this forward a little bit here. Like that. Let me turn on, I'm gonna make this a little bit thinner. There we go. That's nicer dimensions that I like. So then what we're going to do here is matte cap, paint this over. Okay, perfect. So now we can add a little bit more detail on the bottom here. Just a little bit more. There. Once again, when making miniatures, you want to add a lot of these little edges just to make it really interesting for when I print this out and use it as some type of scenery for a diorama or for a tabletop game. When I paint it, it's going to have a lot of edges to really give a lot of that detail, make it pop. So I think what we'll do is make this portion here maybe. So what I'll do for that is I'm just gonna go ahead and draw. I like how that doesn't do that. I don't like how that doesn't do the outline. Anyway. So we're just gonna kind of draw. So we're gonna click off of it. And we're gonna draw a cube here. We're gonna kind of push it out like that. And then we're gonna shape it in the x-axis like that. And then we're gonna scale it in the z-axis. Move it up a little bit. And then we're gonna just add an edge loop here using Control R. And then we're going to just move this one back like that. And that kind of gives the same illusion or the same look that that's going for. Probably move it back more. And then we'll push this up. Okay, so I guess it looks like you can go. I'm gonna do a little smoothing. I'm gonna shade this flat. Same with this, shade it flat and get rid of the smoothing. Shade all these other ones flat. That's one thing I don't really love about using box cutter. I have to figure that out. But it automatically shades everything flat and smooths everything out. And when you plint it, you don't want it to be shaded. You want to see how it's gonna look when it's plinted. Okay, so that's our general look here. I like it. So this one looks like you'll just kind of bop it downwards. Let me move this down a little bit more. So I'm just gonna select this entire bottom edge loop or bottom face. Move it down further. No, I'll just leave it where it is. That maybe, yeah, I think that works. Okay, so now we have our general. This is essentially a vending machine. So now you've made the vending machine. You can put whatever you want in it. So if you want to make a vending machine, it takes you, I don't know, 10 minutes, 5 minutes to make a vending machine. And then you can add your basing bits or whatever you want into it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the offering box. So I have a couple of offering boxes that I'm looking at as reference images. They all look very not simple, but more kind of not highly embellished, not highly detailed, which I think is very cool. So I'm probably going to go with one of these non-highly embellished ones and just kind of put it in at a diagonal. So to do that, we're just going to go add a cube, scale it. So just add a cube using Shift A, cube, and then we can scale it using S and then X and Y in the various selections. So I'm gonna move it over here. It's gonna be at a diagonal, so I'll show you how it looks later. But for now, I kind of wanted to take up that entire space like that, and then make it a little bit taller. Okay. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make the general design of the box. So it looks like I'm just gonna add 2 edge loops here. So basically you just add an edge loop using Control R, then you use your mouse wheel to add 2, or after you left click when you do Control R, you can change the number of cuts here. I'm just gonna do 2. Yeah, I'll do 2. I'll do 2 here. And then I'll Alt Shift left click on both of them. And then scale them in the Z dimension. That. And then I will, let me see if I can, bevel these. So another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to confirm scale. No, it looks like they're very non-beveled, so I'm just going to leave those like that. Then I'm going to add some more edge loops here. And then add some more edge loops in each dimension. So I want to make sure that these measure roughly the same amount. Okay, that's roughly the same amount to me. There's probably a way to do that so you get the exact amount. Probably just adding a cube. But you could probably add a cube here and that's fine. But I'm just going to do like that. And then I am going to add another edge loop here. Probably going to also make this a little bit taller by just grabbing this bottom one and moving it down a little bit. Then I'm going to add 2 edge loops across top here. That. And I'm going to bevel these, and you'll see why slightly later. And now I'm going to grab all of these faces here, and I'm going to inset them. So I shift left click selected all the faces. I'm also going to bevel this one here. Okay, and I'm going to grab all the faces. I'm actually going to see if I can grab this entirely. I'm going to grab all the faces like this. And then I'm going to hit E, Escape, Alt S to move them all in. And now we have a little bit more of our Schlein box here. I'm going to take this top face, these 3 top faces, and I'm going to inset them as well. Probably to here-ish. Okay. And then I'm going to take these, I'm probably going to leave it like that. So what I will add is just a couple of, what are they called? Screws, nails. So what I'll do for that is I will add a UV sphere, move it into place here, and then I will kind of make it a little bit smaller. That. And then I will just use the overlay modifier to overlay it across. So I can use either mesh, I can use box cutter and hard ops for this. Just Q and then you just overlay. Under overlay modifier. You can add as many as you want. Probably make it a little bit smaller, move it a little bit more up. Overlay. Font selection. There we go. Add another one. And then How do I make this work a little bit better? Oh, I just moved the cap down to 4. Constant offset. Maybe go to relative offset. There we go. Nope. Let's see, how can I make this work? First of all, I'm going to apply scale and rotation. It could be because these aren't the same distance from each other. Or another thing I can do, which I'm probably just going to do now, is make 2 of them. Move it so that's kind of in the center there. And then I'm just going to mirror it across this box. And I think what I'll do is I'll make it 4. And then change the factor. Want them to meet in the middle, so we're just gonna kind of mess with this until it kind of makes some sense. Okay, that looks how I want it to look. And then I will just add another overlay modifier. You can add it here, or you can go into whatever this is called, into hard ops by hitting Q. Gonna move them down to here. And then I will just add another overlay, except in the Z dimension. Okay, I'll just add it in the leg of the modifier. I'm trying to just get a better grip of hard ops overall. Just to see how it works. Get more used to it. Okay, there. And then I'll probably just duplicate this and just shift it up. Or I will do another one. I'll just mirror this also across the Z. Well, mirror it across the Y. Okay, we're gonna make these a little bit smaller. Then we're going to change the factor on here on the X. Then we're going to change the factor on the Y as well. Let me just move this to the top or the bottom. Let me just move that to last. So the way you have your modifiers assemble arranged as well also kind of messes with what you're doing. Okay, so then I'll just change this a little bit as well. There we go. And I'll just split the difference here as 6.75. Okay, and then I am going to add another mirror modifier. Or no, I'll just kind of duplicate them and move it up. So I'll just take these entirely, duplicate them, move them up to here. Then make them get rid of this overlay in the Z dimension, and then just make them bigger. make them bigger, and then go back to the lay modifier and make them there. That, and then maybe reduce the count by 1. Fine. Okay, so now we have our offering box font done a little bit more. We're just going to add the little glates. So I'll do that by adding a cube. So I'm gonna above the cube, select the cube, shift select the offering box. That's offering box. See if I can parent this to that. Will this mess everything up? Nope. Okay, perfect. You can either parent by right-clicking and going to the parent menu, or just hitting Control P. Now if I move this offering box around, takes that with it. So once again, click, shift click, and then we can Shift S and then selection active. That's the selection is the cube and the active is the offering box. We're going to shift these 90 degrees in the Y dimension. Sorry, 45 degrees in the Y dimension. That. And then we're going to scale them in the X dimension. Like that. And probably make him a little bit smaller. Get them in the Y dimension like that. And then we're going to come over. And then we're going to overlay across the top here. Okay. Probably going to take these down a little bit more like that. Like a little bit more like triangles. Then I'll probably bevel the top edge just a little bit. There. And then I'm just going to overlay gonna apply rotation and scale, and then I'm gonna overlay this over. Gonna look from the top. Overlay. Kind of like that. That's good to me. And then we're gonna kind of select, I'm gonna parent this to the offering box. Gonna move the offering box over. Gonna shift it diagonally. So you can kind of just flow in. Let me just mess with the LA. Add a couple more. That. There we go. I like how that looks. We could also add some more across the side here. We could. I think I'm going to. I'm going to Shift D, move these in the local Y dimension by just double tapping Y. And then I'm going to get rid of their offset in, or their overlay in the X, and move it to the Y. That. Probably get rid of some of these. A little more spaced out. That's what I'll do, and I'll just get rid of the mirroring across the Y like that. And then I will just duplicate this and then do it in the D dimension. Like that. He's over in the local Y. Like that. And then do the same thing where I do them in the... Nope, I'll just duplicate them and then do them in the... Let's see how to do this. There's a way to do this the right way. I think I'll just apply this. Take this one. Duplicate it, separated by selections. Take that one. Add the array. In the Y. By the same factor this is taking, 2.1. Two, then add. Okay, and then what I'll do is, since this is applied, I'll just delete this one. Probably just move this a little bit more in the local Y dimension. There we go. It kind of looks heavy metal right now. Let me see if I make it. Yeah. You add a bit more wood grain to this. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to delete the interior ones. I think that's what's giving it its like real heavy riveted look. So I will just get rid of the 5 count. Just leave it at a 2 count and then move it over. There we go. And then we can leave the top like that. And then we'll probably do the same here. That's a little bit more, a little bit less heavy metal, a little bit more spiritual. Okay. So that is the a lot of the base of the vending machine. So now we're just gonna try to add a roof. Or yeah, we're gonna add a roof, which I can do by looking at some roofs. Okay, so we're gonna start with, I'm just looking at Lily. I just looked up small Japanese shrines, and I like how one looks. It's very simple. I don't want to go super extravagant with this. So I'm just gonna add this, just delete this one here. So I added a cube using Shift A, then deleted it. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger by just scaling. Then I'm going to take this, move it back to around this point. And then I'm going to hit E to extrude, then just move this one up, rotate it a little bit. And then I think I'm just gonna make it, yeah, like that. Then I'm just gonna mirror this one across the there, across the vending machine portion. I think that looks good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the roof portion. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this top part, flute it out, and then I'm going to do that because so I'm extruded this top face and then kind of bent it a little bit because that's going to be the general shape of the roof. So what I'm gonna make the roof is I'm just gonna do it the way that I know how to do it. I'm gonna make it a little bit chunkier than you would expect the roof to be, but that's so that it's not flimsy when you're plinting. So let me just take a couple pictures of roofs here. Okay, so now I'm gonna take this and I'm going to just I extruded it, moved it down a little bit. Okay, so there, maybe. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some edge loops here. And then I'm just going to kind of use proportional editing to move them to just flotate the whole thing. That. And then move this top part up some. Got proportional editing. Then we're gonna just scale this in the X dimension. Like that. And then we'll probably just include this in the Y, rotate it a little bit. Oh, grab the whole thing, not just a portion. So just grab the face here. Glue that over in the Y, rotate it a little bit. Like, is that too far? Maybe there. That looks fine to me. So we're gonna mirror this across the roof here. In the Y, gonna delete this face at the back. And then we're gonna put clipping on. And then we're gonna take this edge loop and then we're going to hit E to exclude. Or we could just move it instead of excluding. So select the edge loop and then G, Y. That looks fine to me. I don't mind how that looks. I kind of actually like the more kind of angular look here. I'm probably going to take this and there we go. Okay, that's good. So now I'm going to take these, maybe every other one. Okay, so I selected each face loop here by just going to face mode, alt left clicking the first one, then shift alt left clicking the subsequent ones. Every two here. And then I'm gonna hit E to exclude, and then right click. Then I'm going to select each one here. These are the ones I selected, and I'm gonna scale them and their individual origins. That. Yeah, I think that's how you do it. Then maybe move them forward. Or I could just take the top here. Yep. Yep, okay. I'm just gonna take the top here of all of them. Then move them over. In the Y. I'm just gonna scale them slightly. So those are the panels, and then I'm going to merge the many ones by vertice, and that's how we get that panel look. Let me just zoom in a little bit more on some of these pictures here. Yeah, I think that's fine. Probably move them a little bit more in the Y. Just shift click these top, move in the Y a little bit more. I don't know if... Yeah. Okay. So those are the roof bits there. And then I'm going to add the joining parts to them. So I'm just going to go and I'll probably draw them as curves. I'll probably scale this in a little bit. Like that. Move this up a little bit. Scale this one in a little bit as well. I don't think they overshoot that. I think it's more... I think this bottom part doesn't overshoot the roof on these that I'm looking at. Let me see. It doesn't, it doesn't. I'm not going to overshoot it. So now, I'm going to just draw the curve. So I'm just going to make a curve here. Bezier curve. And then I'm going to go into edit mode and delete the curve. Delete all the vertices. And then I'm going to select this where it says draw. Where you can draw them freehand. And then I'm going to just draw a curve that kind of goes down there. So now that I've drawn it, and then kind of move it around so it follows the shape of the roof a little bit better. And let me, do they go all the way to the top of the roof? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm probably going to take that. Nope. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm probably just gonna move this. I'm gonna delete this portion. And then I'm gonna just move this in slightly. To there. For the mirror, I'm gonna make sure. There we go. And then I'm going to make this a little bit more angled here. This is why I angled it. So when you're 3D printing, you always want to make sure that all these pieces overlap when you union them. Okay, so that's good. I'm just going to take these and make them a little bit more pronounced. So that they actually show up in the model. Okay. Then I'm going to take this Bezier curve again. kind of mess with it a little bit more. To go all the way here. That. And then I'm going to give them a little bit of volume. So I just go into the curve option, the curve data portion, then I go into object, or I'm just going to give them some depth here, and that kind of elongates them. Move them over. Gonna move them up a little bit. Them over. Y. Down. And then I'm gonna mess with the shape a little bit more. Yeah, I'm gonna move the shape a little bit more. That's good. And then I'll do the same where I do the allay modifier. I'll probably convert this to a curve first. So I convert this curve to a mesh. Origins geometry. And then add an allay modifier. Okay, that's perfect. Then I'm going to mirror this across the that's good. Then I'm going to mirror these across the Y dimension, or the Y dimension of the cube here. I take these top ones, move them down a little bit. May I honestly just delete this one. There we go. I think I like that a little bit better. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select third one. So same thing, face mode, Alt, Shift, left click, select the edge loops. Then I'm going to hit E to exclude them, escape. So these are shaded. I'm going to shade them flat. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all the ones that the third one. Remember how they look. I have to remember where they were. Here, here, here. Here, 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 here. Here, here, here. And here, 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 and here. So now I'm going to go banana mode. Select them here, 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 and here. Then I'm gonna S, individual origins, like this. And then I'm going to go into vertex mode, merge by distance, get rid of all the ones I don't want. Kind of go back on this a little bit. Put the difference. Okay, and then I'm going to subdivide surfaces on this after I add some to the top here, bottom. Then I'm going to subdivide surfaces. And then I'm going to go ahead and add an edge loop to define that segment. And then inset the faces at the top and the bottom. There we go. Probably going to just shift these a little bit further south or further down. Just a little bit here. Okay, so now we have we're almost done with our vending machine portion of the spiritual vending machine. And I think what we'll do here is we will add some of the envelope, and I forget what it's called. Shimenawa. Kind of like, you'll see it when I show it. It kind of looks like this. We're gonna put it across here. So we have the envelope here, and then we'll have the, there we go, these bad boys here. They're not bad boys, they have a name. That. Well, and we'll just do the cluster side. So we'll do that by making some envelopes, and there's an easy way to do that. Let me just move this cursor over here. So now what I'll do is I'm going to add a circle, just a regular circle here. And then I will add the splue modifier in the Y dimension. That, see, there we go. Add some iterations. We'll probably make it like, okay. After you do that, you can go ahead and add a Bezier curve. Then we can go in edge mode. Move these out a little bit. We don't need a lot. And then we can go add a modifier that's a curve modifier. So go to deform, curve modifier on here. And then you do it in the Y dimension. And then you can go ahead and add relations. And now you have a loop. Okay, I'm just gonna take both of these over. Move them across here. Put them up here. And then all you have to do is move the curve. All you should have to do. Yep. All you have to do is move the curve. And then if you want to make it connect, all you have to do is go here into the circle you made, add some more iterations, and then make sure that your curve isn't going off in a weird direction. Like that. And then we're gonna add another inflow point to make it a little bit more interesting here. Give it a little bit more life. Something like that. We're gonna take this in the curve, gonna make it right up to the Gonna push it right up to the vending machine like that. So it intersects. We're gonna take this and we're going to take the slope. We're gonna mirror it across the vending machine. So Y, across vending machine. Why isn't this working? Let me grab the curve. Boss, the vending machine. For some reason it's not mirroring how it should. Oh, I know why. Because it's at the left bottom. Let me mirror this. If I move this first, and then mirror it across the vending machine. Maybe after the screw. I do not know why this is happening. It probably has to do something with the curve. Probably has something to do with the fact that the curve and the lobe are not I have to confirm the rotation or something. So now I confirm the rotation, maybe that will change it. Still. Oh, yep. Okay, yeah, all I had to do was confirm the rotation. And there you go. So now you have these slopes. Maybe if I make the circle a little bit bigger. Nah, okay. That's fine like that. So now we'll just add the paper. I think they're called Cheetah, maybe? Yes. Okay. They're called Cheetah. Okay, so now we're gonna add a couple of those. Which is zigzag. So I'm just going to make a cube. Gonna make a cube down here. Select to selection active. Cube over. And then we're just gonna kind of extrude in a zigzag nature. I'm just gonna kind of turn this. And then I'm going to take that here. Include this face. That. Take this and I'm gonna exclude like this. I'm gonna add one here. Include like this. And then take this and exclude that. So I'm excluding by the local X and Y dimensions. You just double click X or your Y or Z to exclude them in their local X and Y dimensions. Z, or you can just exclude and it'll just automatically do it. So that's like that. So probably what I'll do is just mess with the shape a little bit. That. Honestly, I think I'm just gonna leave it like that because I like how that looks. Maybe not. I'll probably just take this portion here. I'll take this portion here. This bottom portion here. Maybe this here. Okay, and then I'm just gonna duplicate this. That. And then I'll probably just make them all a bit smaller. Like this. Like there. Put them in here. And then one more here. I'll move this in a little bit. And then I will go ahead and mirror these. I could take this here. I'm just gonna see how this one looks. So I'm just gonna duplicate this. Hide this. So at the change points, there, and there, I'm gonna bevel this. And I'm going to take this. And I'm gonna just put it in. And I don't know if I like how that looks. I'll probably just leave them like that. Maybe give them a slight bevel. Nah. I'll leave them hyper stylized. Okay. I'm just gonna join these all together. And then mirror this across the cube. There we go. So now we have our Spirits of Vending machine. Really the only thing we're missing now is to I'm probably gonna make it wood, the actual vending machine here. Yeah, I'll probably make it wood here. And then I'll add, I think the next one is going to be a lot of the adding the stuff to go into the vending machine. So I'll just add a little segment here. So I'm going to add the shelves. So I'm just gonna, yeah, I'm gonna not click on that. I'm just gonna add the shelf here. I'm gonna add the shelf where they'll be sitting on. And I'm not gonna add a like pane or anything. And just like this one, it's probably gonna be 3. There we go. Push it up a little bit. And then what I'll probably actually do is make this a little bit more vending machines. So I'm gonna look up some vending machines. See how some of these look. Okay, yeah, that's what I'll do. I'm probably gonna add a little thing here. Yeah, so I'm gonna add a place where the name tag will go. So like, hey, this is what we're buying here. And then I will overlay this cutter. Probably have there 5 per each one. And then I'll just overlay this one. Should be able to just overlay this one. Yep. And the, how do I change that? There we go. Okay. And then we'll probably just make this a little bit more. There we go. All right, and then we're gonna put our little items up here. We're gonna kind of give them a sort of like a relief kind of thing. So you're not gonna have the entire item. They kind of melt into the background of that to give the illusion of multiple ones. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna append the. I'm gonna go ahead and append the lantern I made yesterday. Where is it? Paper lanterns here. Gonna append this here. Gonna move them in. Gonna make them a bit smaller here. This is gonna be our first one here. Have them so they sit light on top. Gonna push them out there. And then I'm going to overlay these so I can add 2 of them, or 3 of them maybe. There you go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go into Blender. Here, gonna go blur these. I'm just gonna make these blood, just so we can kind of see what we're looking at. Gonna add, where's that light? No light? Okay, I'll add a light. Make a sun, make it 5. Okay, there we go. Take these, make them an irony color, just so we can kind of see what we're working with. I always do this just so I can kind of better envision. I'm not very good at envisioning things, so this is how I do to see how it kind of generally look once it's colored or painted. See if there's anything I really don't like. Make these more of a dark color like that. Okay, that's looking good. We'll give these white. We'll make the envelope colored. We'll make the vending machine a dark blonde because it's gonna be wood. That. Same here. Same here. These are light wood. Then we'll go to the roof bit here. We'll make that this color. Let me do these lose. Are these lose the same color? Let me look up more pictures of Japanese loops. Okay, so the bottom part here is the same color as that, and then these are a different color, so just make them no, these are the same color as these. Okay, so we'll just make these clean. I'm a dark clean. Okay, so this is our spiritual vending machine so far. So the thing we're missing is we're missing a couple of lines here. We're gonna make this look a lot more like wood. We're gonna make this look a lot more like wood. We're gonna add some wood details, wood texture here. And then we're gonna add the little sakura blossoms here. We're gonna add the little Jizos here. Little Among Us guys. And the bells. And the bells. And the sticks. So, let me just place these. And I think I'll add the wood design, the wood texture to a lot of this tomorrow. And then do the sculpting of the charms inside. But so far it looks pretty good. I like how it looks. Just in general. And I think that I'm pretty proud of it. Pretty happy with how it looks so far. Probably gonna call it here for the day. So thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a good